Did you know that the average American family throws away over $1,500 every single year on groceries they don't need? That's right, $1,500 down the drain because you're buying items that only financially illiterate people purchase. I'm about to expose 12 grocery store items that are literally designed to separate you from your hard-earned money, and if you're buying these, you're falling for one of the biggest retail scams in history. Listen, grocery stores aren't your friend. They're businesses designed to maximize profit, and right now, with food prices jumping 2.8% higher than last year, they're making record profits while you struggle to feed your family. Some of these items I'm about to show you have markups as high as 4,000%. That's not a typo, 4,000%. By the time this video ends, you'll never shop the same way again, and you'll start keeping that money in your pocket where it belongs. But here's the thing. Most people will watch this video and do absolutely nothing with this information. So the question is, are you going to be like everyone else, or are you going to be smart about your money? 1. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Let me tell you a story that'll blow your mind. Last week, I walked into my local grocery store and saw a container of pre-cut watermelon for $6.99. Right next to it, a whole watermelon for $3.99. Same exact watermelon, folks. Someone literally took 5 minutes to cut it up and doubled the price. This isn't some isolated incident. This is happening with every single pre-cut fruit and vegetable in that store. And according to recent industry data, you're paying an average of 40% more for someone else to use a knife. Here's what really gets me fired up about this scam. The grocery stores will tell you it's about convenience and labor costs. Bull. You know what the real labor cost is? About 30 cents worth of minimum wage work per container. But they're charging you $3 to $4 extra because they know you're busy, you're tired, and you'll pay for convenience. Meanwhile, that pre-cut produce loses nutrients the moment it's chopped, sits under fluorescent lights, losing freshness, and often goes bad faster than whole produce. But here's where smart people win this game. You've got 2 killer strategies that'll save you hundreds every month. First, spend just 20 minutes on Sunday doing meal prep. Throw on your favorite Netflix show, grab a cutting board, and prep your week's worth of fruits and vegetables. You'll actually get fresher produce, save a fortune, and it becomes oddly therapeutic. Second strategy that'll really shock you. Hit up the frozen section. Frozen fruits and vegetables are picked at peak ripeness. Flash frozen to lock in nutrients, pre-cut for your convenience, and cost about 60% less than those overpriced fresh pre-cuts. Plus, they last for months instead of days. The grocery store executives hate this one simple trick because it completely destroys their profit margins on one of their biggest moneymakers. 2. Bottled water. Here's where things get absolutely disgusting, and I mean that literally. You think you're buying pure, clean water in that plastic bottle? Think again. A groundbreaking study just came out from Columbia University and Rutgers that will make your stomach turn. Researchers found that the average liter of bottled water contains about 240,000 tiny pieces of plastic. That's nearly 250,000 plastic particles floating around in every single bottle you drink. And here's the kicker. This is 10 to 100 times more plastic particles than previous studies found because they finally figured out how to detect the smallest particles called nanoplastics. But wait, it gets worse. These microplastics are now showing up in human lungs, breast milk, and even placental tissue. We're literally feeding plastic to our unborn babies. And the bottled water industry? They're laughing all the way to the bank because a $2 water bottle costs them only about 5 cents to make. That's a 4,000% markup. You're paying 40 times more for water that's often just filtered tap water pumped full of plastic particles. Here's what really blew my mind. Studies now show that bottled water actually contains higher concentrations of microplastics compared to tap water. So you're paying 4,000% more to get more plastic contamination than what comes out of your kitchen faucet for basically free. The solution is stupidly simple. Get a decent water filter for $30, buy a stainless steel bottle, and stop poisoning yourself while hemorrhaging money. Your wallet and your body will thank you. 3. Fresh bakery items. Here's something that's going to blow your mind. You know that heavenly smell when you walk past the grocery store bakery? The one that makes your mouth water and suddenly you're craving a chocolate croissant? Well, that smell might not even be real. Major grocery chains are now using synthetic scent diffusers that pump artificial bakery aromas throughout the store, and according to the Scent Marketing Institute, when the smell of fresh baked bread was artificially pumped into a grocery store, sales in the bakery department tripled. That's right. They're literally manipulating your brain chemistry to make you spend money. But here's the really shocking part. Those fresh-baked cookies, muffins, and cakes you're buying have a gross profit margin of nearly 60%. Think about that for a second. If you buy a $4 muffin, the store is making about $2.40 in pure profit. That's not just markup. That's highway robbery. And the reason they can get away with it is because they've hijacked your sense of smell. Research shows that certain scents can inspire shoppers to spend more time in a store and make additional purchases, and grocery stores know this. They're not just selling you bread. They're selling you an emotional experience. Now here's what smart people do instead. First, hit up the day-old section. Same products, often 50% off, and guess what? They still taste amazing. Second, grab those just add water or just add eggs baking mixes. A box of brownie mix costs $2 and makes the same amount as a $12 tray from the bakery. Companies like Philadelphia Cream Cheese are even partnering with stores like Albertsons to pump cheesecake scents through the air. This is psychological warfare against your wallet, and now you know how to fight back. 4. Name brand spices. Here's a story that'll make your blood boil. Last week, I walked into a grocery store and picked up a tiny bottle of McCormick oregano. You know, the one that's barely bigger than your thumb. $3.49. Then, I drove 5 minutes to a local Indian grocery store and bought the same amount of oregano for 37 cents. That's not a small difference. That's nearly a 1,000% markup for the exact same spice. Name brand spices have one of the highest markups of any grocery item, at a whopping 100%, but the real scandal goes way deeper than just price. Let me tell you something that'll shock you about those pretty little spice bottles sitting on grocery store shelves. Most of them have been sitting there for months, sometimes years. I'm talking about spices that lost their flavor and potency so long ago that you might as well be seasoning your food with colored dust. The spice industry has exploded into a $28.84 billion market in 2025, but grocery stores are selling you the oldest, most overpriced versions of these products. That paprika you bought 6 months ago? It probably had the flavor profile of cardboard the day you bought it. But here's where it gets really crazy. The global spices market is growing at nearly 9% per year and expected to hit $59 billion by 2032. Yet grocery stores are still pushing these ancient, overpriced bottles because people don't know any better. Meanwhile, ethnic markets and bulk stores are selling spices that were imported last month, not last year, for a fraction of the price. I'm talking about Indian markets, Middle Eastern stores, Asian groceries. These places move inventory so fast that their spices are actually fresh, and they're selling them at prices that would make grocery store executives cry. Here's your game plan. Skip the spice aisle completely. Find your nearest ethnic market. Every city has them. Buy whole spices when possible because they last longer and taste better. And if you want to get really smart about it, buy in bulk and store them properly in airtight containers. You'll get better flavor, better prices, and you'll stop falling for one of the grocery industry's most profitable scams. That $3 oregano bottle? You can get enough oregano to last you a year for the same price at the right store. 5. Organic. Everything. Here's where grocery stores are playing dirty with your wallet and your health. The organic food industry is now worth over $52 billion, and they're charging you a 20% premium on average just for that little green sticker. But here's what's absolutely shocking. Most people buying organic have no clue when it actually matters and when they're just throwing money away. Let me tell you a story that'll blow your mind. Just yesterday, the Environmental Working Group released their 2024 Dirty Dozen list. And guess what? 95% of items on the Dirty Dozen are coated with pesticides, with over 50 different pesticides detected on each item. We're talking about strawberries that have been found to contain up to 23 different chemicals, even after washing. 23. That's not food. That's a chemistry experiment you're feeding your family. But here's where it gets really crazy. The same study found that almost 65% of Clean 15 fruit and vegetable samples had no detectable pesticide residues. So you're paying extra for organic avocados and sweet corn when less than 2% of conventional samples showed any pesticides at all. You're literally paying a premium for nothing. The most disturbing part? 4 of the 5 most frequently detected chemicals are fungicides that can disrupt human hormone systems, and they're being applied after harvest to keep produce looking pretty on store shelves. These aren't even helping the plants grow. They're just cosmetic chemicals that could be messing with your thyroid and reproductive system. Here's your money-saving strategy that the organic industry doesn't want you to know. Buy organic only for the dirty dozen items like strawberries, spinach, and kale, where it actually makes a health difference. For Clean 15 items like avocados, sweet corn, and pineapple, save your money and buy conventional. This one simple trick can cut your organic grocery bill in half while still protecting your family from the worst chemical exposures. Stop falling for the marketing hype and start shopping smart. 6. Single-serve snacks. Here's a story that will blow your mind. Last week, I was at the grocery store behind a mom with 2 kids. Her cart was loaded with those individual snack packs. You know the ones. Little bags of goldfish crackers, single-serve Oreo packs, mini bags of chips. I watched her ring up, and I couldn't believe what I saw. She spent $47 on snacks alone. Here's the crazy part. I did the math when I got home, and if she had bought the exact same snacks in bulk sizes, she would have spent just $18. That's a 161% markup just for the convenience of having them pre-portioned. Think about this. Snacks that cost $6.54 in 1977 now cost $32.17 in 2025, but single-serve portions are inflating even faster than that. The snack industry is now worth $692.52 billion globally and is expected to grow at 4.2% annually. And guess what's driving that growth? Your laziness. That's right. Companies are literally banking on the fact that you won't spend 2 minutes portioning out snacks yourself. Let me give you some real numbers that will make you sick. A box of individual goldfish crackers, those tiny bags that are gone in 3 bites, costs about $8.99 for what amounts to maybe 10 ounces of crackers. The same brand in a family-size bag? $4.49 for 30 ounces. You're paying nearly 600% more per ounce just because someone else put it in a smaller bag. And don't even get me started on those little pretzel packs in lunch boxes. You're paying $1.25 for what costs literally 15 cents worth of pretzels from a bulk container. But here's what really gets me angry. Families are spending hundreds of extra dollars every year because they think they need these pre-portioned snacks for portion control. Listen, your kids don't need a snack company to teach them portion control. You need a $5 set of reusable containers and 5 minutes of your time. Buy the big bag, portion it out yourself, and stop letting billion-dollar corporations treat you like you're too stupid to count crackers. The average family buying single-serve snacks is throwing away over $800 a year compared to buying bulk and doing the portioning themselves. That's a car payment. 7. Premarinated meat. Picture this. You're standing in the meat section. Your eyes land on those shiny packages of pre-marinated chicken. Honey garlic glazed, it says. Teriyaki paradise, screams another. They look so convenient, so professional, so expensive. But here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. And trust me, this will blow your mind. That pre-marinated chicken breast you're about to grab, it has a markup of up to 60% compared to plain chicken. 60%. Let me break this down for you. A pound of regular chicken breast costs around $4.99. The exact same chicken, just soaked in a marinade that costs maybe 50 cents to make. Now it's $7.99. You're literally paying an extra $3 for someone to pour sauce on your meat. But wait, it gets worse. Here's what the grocery stores don't want you to know. Cold cuts and processed meats have high levels of sodium, and the CDC warns that eating too much sodium can increase blood pressure and the risk for stroke or heart disease. We're not just talking about deli meat here. Those pre-marinated steaks and chicken breasts, they're loaded with sodium too. Some contain over 800 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's more than a third of your entire daily limit in one piece of chicken. Why? Because sodium is cheap. It's a preservative. It makes meat taste better. And it makes you crave more. It's the perfect profit formula for grocery stores. With beef prices set to remain elevated until at least mid-2025 due to drafts, downsizing herds, and rising costs, you'd think we'd be smarter about where our meat dollars go. But nope, we're still falling for this trap. The processed meat industry is booming. The North America fresh processed meat product market is projected to grow from $104 billion in 2023 to an estimated $145 billion by 2032. They're making bank while we're getting ripped off. Here's the thing that'll save you hundreds of dollars this year. Making your own marinade takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Grab some olive oil, garlic, herbs, and maybe some soy sauce or lemon juice. Mix it up. Throw your meat in a bag with the marinade. Done. You just saved $3 and cut your sodium intake in half. The best part? Your homemade marinade actually tastes better. You control the flavors. You control the salt. You control your budget. Every time you buy pre-marinated meat, you're paying someone to spend 2 minutes mixing ingredients you already have at home. It's like paying a restaurant to make you a peanut butter sandwich. Stop it. Your wallet will thank you. Your blood pressure will thank you. And your taste buds? They'll actually thank you too. Next time you see those fancy marinated packages, remember this. That's not convenience. That's a convenience tax. And you're smarter than that. Trendy superfoods in small packages. All right, number 8 is going to blow your mind. And honestly, this one makes me a little angry because of how clever the marketing is. Picture this. You're walking down the health food aisle. You see these tiny little packages with words like superfood and ancient wisdom plastered all over them. There's a small bag of goji berries for $12. Next to it, a kai powder for $18. You think to yourself, well, if it's this expensive, it must be incredibly good for me, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Here's what they don't want you to know. The FDA has never approved the term superfood. It's not a real classification. It's pure marketing genius. These companies can slap superfood on literally anything and charge you triple the price. Let me give you some real numbers that'll make your wallet cry. That tiny 8-ounce bag of organic goji berries, $12.95 at Walmart. That's over $25 per pound. You know what else has tons of antioxidants? Regular old blueberries. And they cost about $4 per pound. Same with blackberries, strawberries, even frozen mixed berries. But wait, it gets worse. In the past 4 years, mentions of the term superfood have increased by more than 300%. That's not because these foods suddenly became healthier. It's because the marketing budget exploded. Here's the crazy part. Goji berries have been part of traditional Chinese medicine for centuries. In China, they're just regular berries. You can buy them cheap at any market. But somehow, when they cross the Pacific Ocean and get a fancy label, they become ancient superfoods, worth their weight in gold. The real kicker? The real superfoods are regular organic fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, and grains you buy from the grocery store. They're much cheaper than a goji berry or maca powder splurge, and just as redeeming in terms of nutrition. And here's something that'll really cook your noodle. Studies looking at breast and liver cancer cells suggest goji berries may help the body kill cancer cells, but these are preliminary lab studies. You know what else has shown similar results in lab studies? Regular berries, leafy greens, and about 100 other common foods that cost a fraction of the price. Look, I'm not saying goji berries are bad for you. They're fine. They're berries. But paying $25 a pound for something that's nutritionally similar to $4 blueberries? That's just paying for Instagram-worthy packaging and marketing hype. Your move? Skip the tiny, expensive packages. Buy regular berries, spinach, carrots, sweet potatoes. These are the real nutritional powerhouses. They've been feeding families for generations without fancy labels or inflated prices. And that brings us to our final item. Something that sounds fancy, but is literally just regular food with a premium price tag. Energy drinks and fancy coffees. All right, number 9 is going to wake you up better than any energy drink ever could. Because we're talking about the liquid gold scam that's draining your bank account faster than you can say, venti caramel macchiato. Picture this. It's Monday morning. You're dragging yourself through the grocery store, eyes barely open. You grab a Monster Energy drink for $3.50, then you swing by Starbucks and drop another $5 on a cold brew. Boom. $8.50 gone before 9 a.m. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. Let's do some quick math that'll make your wallet weep. If you buy just one energy drink and one fancy coffee 3 times a week, that's $25.50 per week. Times 52 weeks, that's $1,326 a year. But wait, it gets worse. Way worse. That Monster Energy you just grabbed? It contains up to 20 teaspoons of sugar. That's 78 grams in one can. The recommended daily sugar intake for women is 24 grams. For men, it's 36 grams. One drink, 3 times your daily sugar limit. And here's the kicker that nobody talks about. The $22 billion energy drink industry is now using wellness branding to make you think these sugar bombs are healthy. They slap words like natural caffeine and vitamins on the label while pumping you full of more sugar than a candy bar. Now let's talk about your fancy coffee habit. A Starbucks cold brew starts around $4, but their nitro version can hit $5 or more. $5 for coffee and nitrogen bubbles. You can buy a 40-ounce container of ground coffee for $10. That makes about 100 cups of coffee. 10 cents per cup versus $5 per cup. That's a 5,000% markup. But here's what really keeps me up at night. Research shows that consuming high-sugar drinks leads to weight gain, increased risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and gout. You're literally paying premium prices to damage your health. I had a friend who was spending $15 a day on energy drinks and coffee shop visits. $15! That's over $5,000 a year. When I showed him the math, his face went white. He thought he was just treating himself. He was actually buying a used car every year in liquid form. Here's your wake-up call. Cold brew at home takes 5 minutes of prep time, coffee grounds, cold water, let it sit overnight. Boom. You've got coffee concentrate that'll last a week for under $2. Need energy? Try green tea with a splash of lemon. Or, here's a crazy idea. Get better sleep and drink water. Revolutionary, I know. Want caffeine without the sugar crash? Buy a good coffee maker. Invest once, save thousands. Want energy without the health risks? Fix your sleep schedule, eat real food, and move your body. The energy drink and fancy coffee industries are betting you won't do the math. They're counting on your morning brain fog to keep you buying liquid sugar at premium prices. Don't let them win. Speaking of liquid waste, let's talk about something that'll make the coffee prices look reasonable. 10. Preseasoned meats. Number 10 is going to make you question everything you've been buying in the meat department. And I'm warning you right now. Once you hear this, you'll never look at those colorful pre-marinated chicken breasts the same way again. Picture this. You're rushing through the grocery store after work. You see those beautiful teriyaki chicken thighs, perfectly marinated and ready to go. Right next to them are plain chicken thighs that look, well, plain. The pre-marinated ones are only $3 more. Seems like a no-brainer, right? Here's what the grocery stores don't want you to know. Those convenient pre-marinated meats? They have a markup of up to 60% compared to plain meat. You're literally paying 60% more for what amounts to about 50 cents worth of marinade ingredients. But the money is just the beginning. The real shocking part is what's actually in that marinade. A recent investigation found that most grocery store marinades are loaded with sodium, sometimes over 800 milligrams per serving. That's more than a third of your daily sodium limit in just the marinade alone. And here's the kicker. Processed meats with preservatives have been linked to cardiovascular diseases, obesity, certain cancers, and even type 2 diabetes. But wait, there's more. You know those bright colors in some of those marinades? Those often come from artificial preservatives and color enhancers that help mask the fact that the meat might not be as fresh as you think. Here's something a former grocery store meat department manager told me. They often use pre-marinated options to move meat that's approaching its sell-by date. The strong flavors and colors in the marinade can mask any slight changes in the meat's appearance or smell. Let me give you some real numbers from this week. At a major grocery chain, plain chicken breasts were $4.99 per pound. The same exact chicken, but pre-marinated in Hawaiian teriyaki, $7.99 per pound. That's a 60% markup for a marinade that costs them maybe 30 cents to make. You want to know what's crazy? Making your own marinade takes exactly 3 minutes. And I'm not talking about some complicated chef nonsense. Here's a basic marinade that beats any store-bought version. Olive oil, soy sauce, garlic powder, and a touch of honey or brown sugar. Mix it in a bowl, throw your meat in a Ziploc bag with the marinade, done. 3 minutes. Maybe 4 if you're being fancy and add some herbs. And the best part? You control the sodium, you control the ingredients, no mysterious preservatives, no artificial colors, no chemicals you can't pronounce. I started doing this myself 6 months ago. My grocery bill dropped by about $40 a month just from this one change. That's almost $500 a year. And honestly, my food tastes better because I'm using fresh ingredients instead of whatever's been sitting in that plastic package for who knows how long. Here's your challenge. Next time you're at the store, compare the price per pound of plain meat versus the same meat pre-marinated. Do the math. Then ask yourself, is 3 minutes of mixing ingredients really worth paying 60% more? Speaking of things that seem convenient but are actually rip-offs, let's talk about something that's sitting in almost every shopping cart right now. 11. Individual yogurt cups. Oh, this one's gonna hurt. Individual yogurt cups. Let me paint you a picture that'll make you never look at the dairy aisle the same way again. Picture Sarah. She's rushing through Target, grabbing her weekly groceries. She tosses a pack of 6 individual Greek yogurt cups into her cart. $8.99 for the pack. Seems reasonable, right? But here's what Sarah doesn't realize. She just paid nearly $15 per pound for yogurt. The exact same yogurt in a large container? $4.50 per pound. Individual yogurts are usually 2 to 5 times more expensive than the same amount of yogurt from a large tub. That's not a typo. You're literally paying up to 5 times more for the convenience of having someone else portion it out for you. Let's do some quick math that'll blow your mind. If you eat 1 yogurt cup per day, that's pretty normal, right? You're spending about $300 extra per year compared to buying large containers and using your own small containers. $300? That's a weekend getaway you're throwing away for pre-portioned dairy. And here's the kicker that really gets me fired up. Each individual cup creates about 6 times more packaging waste than scooping from a large container. Bigger containers usually have relatively less packaging, so that's better sustainability-wise. But I know what you're thinking. What about portion control? Listen, if you can't control yourself around a large container of yogurt, the problem isn't the container size. And guess what? You can buy small reusable containers for like $2 and portion it yourself. Revolutionary concept, I know. Here's your game plan. Buy the large container. Get some small glass containers or even those fancy parfait cups from Amazon. Portion it out when you get home. You'll save money, reduce waste, and probably get fresher yogurt since large containers have higher turnover rates. But if you think individual yogurt cups are overpriced, wait until you hear about our final category. 12. Specialty diet foods. All right, we've reached the final boss of grocery store scams. Specialty diet foods with fancy labels. And this one makes me genuinely angry because they're targeting people who are trying to be healthy. You walk into the health food section, everything looks so clean and premium. There's a box of keto-friendly granola bars for $12. Next to it, paleo-approved crackers for $9.99. Whole30 compliant marinara sauce for $7. Here's what's happening. These companies are taking normal food, slapping diet buzzwords on the package, and charging you double or triple the price. And it's working because the specialty diet food market has exploded by over 40% in just the last 2 years. Let me give you a real example that'll make your blood boil. I found a keto-friendly peanut butter for $11. You know what was in it? Peanuts and salt. That's it. Regular peanut butter with just peanuts and salt. $3.50. Same exact ingredients. Same nutritional profile. The paleo-approved crackers I mentioned. They're made from almond flour and sea salt. You can make the exact same crackers at home with 2 ingredients that cost about 1/4 the price. But they put a caveman on the package, and suddenly it's premium food. Here's the truth that the diet food industry doesn't want you to know. Both keto and paleo diets eliminate added sugars, grains, beans, and most legumes, but you don't need special diet foods to follow these eating patterns. You need real, whole foods that have been around forever. Want to eat keto? Buy regular eggs, regular meat, regular vegetables, and regular cheese. Want to go paleo? Buy regular fruits, regular vegetables, regular nuts, and regular meat. These foods are naturally compliant with these diets. They don't need special labels or premium pricing. I have a friend who spent over $200 a month on Whole30 approved products during her first round. The next time she did it, she just bought regular whole foods and read ingredient labels. Same results. $75 a month. She saved $1,500 in 1 year just by reading labels instead of falling for marketing. Here's your action plan. Before you buy anything with keto, paleo, Whole30, or any other diet label, ask yourself one question. Can I make this exact same thing with regular ingredients? The answer is almost always yes. Stop paying the premium for diet marketing. Start reading ingredient labels. Your wallet and your actual health goals will thank you. Because at the end of the day, real food doesn't need fancy labels to be healthy. If you found this helpful, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Until next time,